I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Next is the approval of the agenda.
I will move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Approval of claims for payment.
I'll move to approve the claims for payment for this week, to be paid this week.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next we have is Scott Burka. Is that,
It'd be me, yes.
and this is the Jefferson Highway Association regarding the Heritage Byway and resolution endorsing application to Iowa DOT. I'll let
Thank
talk.
you. Thanks for having me. I'm a treasurer of the National Jefferson Highway Association. I actually live in Nevada, just a few miles down the road. Anybody here ever heard of the Jefferson Highway? Okay.
Nope.
I find that a lot. Everybody's heard of the Lincoln Highway, everybody's heard of Route 66. The Jefferson Highway actually was born from a vision by E.T. Meredith Publishing in Des Moines. And we started, the association was formed in 1915, 2 years after the Lincoln Highway Association. And Meredith wanted a road that would run through the center of the heartland of the country, and so he put together a conference and members met, and the road ended up being formed the next year. In 1916, they actually picked the route from Winnipeg to New Orleans. In Iowa, it generally follows Highway 65 in the north half of the state, and then crosses over at Colo to Ames, and then follows Highway 69 on the south half of the state. We are trying to get the highway signed from Winnipeg to New Orleans, and since the idea for the road started in Iowa, we're starting in Iowa. The DOT has a Heritage Byway program, and they will put up signs to mark the route. The sign we're proposing is similar to this. This may not be the final sign, but this is really close. And we're in the process of applying for the Heritage Byway program. One of the things we need to do that is they would be putting up signs within your jurisdiction, and we need your approval for them to do that. Your commitment would really be they will furnish the signs, install them initially, and your commitment would be if a sign got broken, damaged, run over, or whatever, and it was on one of your rights of way, you would have to furnish the labor and maybe a signpost to replace it. But all the signage material is all furnished by the DOT. So we're asking 31 jurisdictions in Iowa, Hardin County being one of them, to approve a resolution basically endorsing the project and agreeing to furnish the labor to replace broken or damaged signs in the future. So it's a really low cost, almost no cost deal for the county. And I think you'll find that once the signs are placed, we have a tremendous amount of people that love to follow two-lane roads. When the interstates and 4 lanes came in, it took people away from the small communities, and we're trying to bring them back to the small communities. And I think this Heritage Byway program will be one way we can do that. So that's why I'm here asking your approval for the resolution to endorse the program.
Okay. I just got a quick question for the engineer. Is that a problem?
I don't think so. How many signs would we be talking about? Do you
Well,
put them every mile or what?
No, I sent a thing out with the, have you actually seen similar signs?
I couldn't get it to.
Oh, okay.
down.
I don't know if I brought that along or not, but I brought a photo of the ones that we actually have on the Lincoln Highway, so you can kind of get an idea of how big the signs actually are. These are fairly, I mean, you can't miss these signs. How many would be? They don't put, it's mainly trail marking, so you'd have to have one wherever the road might have turned. As far as your jurisdiction, you do have a couple of county blacktops starting just north of Iowa Falls. It comes in on the east side of Iowa Falls. There'd probably be some signage there, and then down around Hubbard, there'd be some signage on Hardin County roads. But before any signs are placed, the DOT will contact you and tell you where they're going to put them within your jurisdiction, so you would know where they would be. And if you've got an issue with a sign being there, you can talk to them about it at that time. But they will let you know where they're going to be and get your input.
And they're taking care of it on the state highways?
Yeah, on the state highways, it's all theirs.
Okay.
But we will have, like Iowa Falls, we'll have some signs. They approved our resolution at their last council meeting. I just picked up the one from Hubbard this morning. I think they would be the only two cities within the county.
Okay. Any other questions?
Not for me.
No?
Well, I guess he's asking for, or requesting for the resolution that we endorse this application.
I'll make a motion to approve the signage for the Heritage Byway. Pass the resolution.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I think it'd be a great thing. Looks nice when I see them up there. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Renee?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
I'm gonna leave some scratch pads and some Jefferson Highway brochures, so there's an application in the back if you wanna join. We actually have a few counties that are members, so.
All right.
Thanks
All
a
right.
lot.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Next on the agenda, Jeff Folkerts regarding walking trail. You got the floor.
I do, thank you very much, appreciate that. I was wondering if you guys could take me, open your mind a little bit more to more of a, not just a trail that you've got going, that you acquired here just recently, but to make it open to also golf carts as well. And I'll explain a little
I
bit
missed something in golf carts.
about open it to golf carts as well, on that trail. I'll explain, because what I see most when I had an opportunity to go down to see my nephew in Peachtree, Georgia. Down there, we were at a resort down there, and one of the resorts is boasting about one of the most top 10 companies in the nation go there. And they go there for simple reasons. Well, number one is the activities. It's quiet. It was Seneca, Monsanto, some of those, all they have their business and a business meetings there. One is because it's quiet. Number two is because the area is beautiful. One thing about being down south in Peachtree, Georgia, their garages, they have their garages set up in their houses, but there's another garage for their golf cart. You can take those golf carts on trails anywhere in Peachtree, Georgia. There's places where you go to Walmart, you go to grocery stores, there's the parking for the golf cart. It's amazing of what trails that they've got. It's gorgeous. One of the reasons why those people go there. The other reason is they asked us a question. I asked them why, and they said because it's quiet. They can focus on everything they do. I'm not saying building a resort like that, but it's the opportunity opening this up to more than just the opportunity of bike ride. If I can ask anybody in here to raise their hand, when is the last time that you rode a bike from Steamboat to Eldor or Eldor to Steamboat? How many have done that in the last 30 days?
Oh, 30 days.
30 years ago.
Okay, does that answer the question? Okay, if you can make that trail look as gorgeous as you can, we're talking about ornamental trees, we're talking about wildflowers, something as gorgeous as it can be. It's an opportunity we have to make something as beautiful as people want. And if we can do that, we can make people come here. During the 60s and the 70s, it was a heyday of Hardin County. We had more businesses come to town, more houses built. My uncle built a lot of them here. And we banked a lot of those businesses. We put a lot of money in those businesses. Okay, and a lot of time those businesses. We had some people even here from John Deere, as I know it. Your mom did that. And we banked on those businesses. Okay. Where are they at now? If we put their money into entertainment, as we can here, like we can, there's no reason, there's nothing there that was in Peachtree, Georgia, was any different than we have here. We have the fishing, we have the golf course, we have the tennis areas. All of that is here. We have a gold mine here. We just need to implement it. Okay? We just need to take advantage of that. If you look at Las Vegas, you look at Branson, Missouri, you look at places like it was down there in Peachtree, Georgia. Dahlonega, Georgia, my brother-in-law was stationed at for the interview. A little far south of that is called Helton, Georgia. Look it up on the internet. It'll show you what they went through for a small town that was dying. Okay? They built a German community out of it, where you walk into shop after shop. If you walk down one street, the shop, walk out the back door, there's another shop, and they completely turned the place around. This is what I want to see Eldora do. Put your money is not only in the businesses, but as well as the entertainment. And this is what Eldora, Georgia did. This is what all the places have done. And they're thriving and bigger than they ever have been before. And I know it's going to take money. It takes a lot of backbone. It takes a lot of anybody else to give their time. But we can make it something more than what it is. We've lost a lot, but we can gain it all back. It's not impossible. And I'd like to take the opportunity to change that to what you can make that one of the most beautiful miles you ever seen. I talked to Matt the other day in IT. He says, you could actually make places like that almost like it is like the interstate. It stops along the side. You have a big, the Illinois Central's got a bunch of the old passenger cars sit on the side roads where you can stop and have something to eat. You can spot and put your old steam engine if you got one or anything. It's just a hollow shell along the sidings. Just make it like regular stops along the way. You can put the old water tower, or the old water tanks they had in the old days along some of the sidings along the way. Steamboat you can put up a depot for people who serve food, whatever you want to do. It's something that we can all make out something more out than what it is just a bike trail. And like I said, you seem to raise hands. How many people use it? How many use the trail between here and Steamboat? You seem to raise hands. But if you had people out there that could rent, and that's basically what they did in Peachtree, Georgia. They rented all your golf carts. They rented bikes, rented all this stuff in order for them to enjoy the whole period, the whole things around this area. And then we've got it through Pine Lake, we've got it through every place else around here. We're going to do the exact same thing. And I just want to make that to you guys open your mind a little bit to that opportunity. Because there's a lot of things that we have that are no different than they have.
Any questions?
No
Thank you.
questions, but some of the grants that you apply for to develop the trail have limitations on them, and some, so
I do
that
understand.
that ties some of their hands to
But
be
I
able
do
to.
understand too, Pat, the point that how busy is this trail going to be? That's the question I asked, why I asked the question, how many have been on there in the last 30 days?
And I know the committee has been trying to leave it open to as many different types of modes of movement onto the trail as they could and can.
Like I said,
with their
ornamental
limitations.
trees, wildflowers, you can make the most beautiful.
They've thought of that. It's been discussion on their committee, so.
And like I said, there's so many things we can do, to make this place more of a place of recreation than it ever has before. So, I just want you guys to open your mind up a little bit to it. And think about some of the things that we can do.
No, I'm thinking of it, so.
Yeah.
But again, we are restricted to some of the grants that are put on there that they try to receive. And unfortunately, they do put stipulations on things like that.
Yeah.
and it's hard to get any type of funding for the trail without them putting those stipulations on large dollar amounts. I think there's other resources that we could be looking at in order to keep stuff like that too, and I think the Trails Committee's open to that as well.
I just hate to see it, you know, like you said, we're not a young community, you know, we're an older age, and, you know, I'm not gonna jump on a bike anymore. My
I
niece
should.
would let- My niece would let me, I would, but not anymore, and I'm not in the same boat. You know, and if you make it as a beautiful place to go, they're gonna want to walk it. And not that many people can walk it, not that many people can go on a bike anymore. But you jump on a golf cart and you go all the way to Eckland.
I agree, to make it more accessible for,
You know, and like I said,
disabled
this-
people
if-
and-
If it was different, it was sitting someplace else. You know, you work with a bike trail, you know. Like I said, there's nobody in this county, in this select few that might say, hey, you know, I'm gonna jump on a bike and take the trail to Akron. You know? And so I think it gives them more of an opportunity to see how beautiful the area is. One of the gals I used to know went down to Florida, and she was down in, let's see what town was it? Anyway, she's back and she's living in Marshalltown. She came back a little bit, and she says, I forgot how beautiful it is here. And I said, we got a gold mine here. We just know how to dig it up.
Okay.
best to open it up to as many people as you can, rather than limiting to just
So
select few.
that's all I have.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, next we have is the approval of the Heartland Risk Pool renewal documents. And we went through this last week,
Yep.
and I'm ready for the renewal.
I am
It's just
too.
an annual renewal that we do every year.
So I'll move to approve the Heartland Insurance Risk Pool coverage for next year, for 2015-16.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? The ironic thing is we have to do this every year even though we're an owner of Heartland Risk Pool. But any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next is Recorder's Monthly Report. Lori, did you want to speak on that? All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the county reporter's report.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the monthly report of May 2015. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is Solutions, Inc. fiscal year 16 agreement. Micah, do you want to throw anything on that?
I know even less than you did about that. Nope, it's the annual maintenance agreement for the software used by many departments in the county.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the solutions contract or support agreement for all of our software programs that the county operates.
And I will note that it was reviewed by all the department heads, or the ones that are, use the software.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next we have to have is acknowledge receipt of animal feeding operation construction permit, Buckeye Township. This is where they're just adding extra pigs to the buildings.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the animal feeding operation construction permit to Mallard Bay Side, Section 16, Buckeye Township.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Now we set the date for public hearing on the animal feeding operation construction permit. Mallard Bay Site, Section 17, Buckeye Township.
Make a motion to set the date for the public hearing for the Mallard Bay site for July 8th at 10:02 a.m.
Down here.
down.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, next we have our application for fireworks permits. I have 2 of them.
I will make the motion. First, we have the Michelson family reunion. He's got a box here that's checked no, where it said, have they had training? And he said no, but he has operated fireworks for the reunion for approximately the last 6 years, so obviously has experience. And there was one other box, or
11.
set of boxes that weren't checked. But I think overall, the application would meets most all the requirements, so I would say I would make the motion to approve it.
July 3rd.
Oh, yes. For July 3rd, 16922 Highway S27 in Alden.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
It would be good if you would check box 11. I mean, it's a simple check that you either keep people away from the restricted area, which is safe, or you immediately check the area after the display. They can do one or the other. I mean, it's an either or.
So you want that added?
Should we,
Be marked as
do you think
yes.
we should contact them and get a
Yea or
response
nay
from
on
them?
it, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I would,
I think they just must have bypassed it. I mean, that's an easy
yeah.
yes or no.
Mhm. Okay, so
Do we have to
So-
make an amendment to that?
amend it to say contingent upon contacting them for an answer to question number 11.
Second on the amendment.
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded for the amendment to contact them on
Finish the
11.
application
Okay.
for number 11.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye for the
Aye.
amendment.
Aye.
Aye. Now all in favor for the fireworks permit. Any more discussion on that?
Okay, thank you.
There's no more discussion. All in favor for the fireworks permit then.
Aye.
Say
Or,
aye.
approved, yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is the Fox family reunion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Fox family reunion. Looks like it's a go all the way through with yeses. And display will take place on the 3rd, and rain date will be the 4th.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is we have a request for a payout for accrued vacation. The request was made. I put it on the agenda. It's in the handbooks, policies that we don't do it. We haven't done in the last 2 years.
Yeah, the handbook gets a little complicated with the vacation and time off. There's actually 15 pages to go through, to read through. But reading through it more than a few times, the handbook doesn't account for a payout for vacation. And it's been asked before, and we referred back to the handbook, which states that we don't pay out vacation. That's in the last 2 years that I've been here, so we've been sticking with the handbook,
Okay,
with those questions.
so I'll second it.
What was your motion?
My motion was to deny the application
Okay.
and abide by the handbook rules.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I guess I questioned it in the beginning because I know there's been been some paid out in the past, but some of that was prior to me leaving the auditor's office. And I didn't realize that it hasn't been paid out over the couple of years, which we do have the policy to not pay it out. It's been in the handbook. If we were making exceptions to that rule, I would have been in favor of paying or of doing this, but since we've not been doing that and going by the handbook, I guess I would say continue to go by the handbook.
I specifically had been asked about the payout, and I didn't realize that it was asked in the past, but after I was elected, I referred to the handbook, which I thought the best was
Okay.
policy, so.
Yeah, should, but I don't know if Lynn has comments.
Can you say what section of the handbook? Because I've read through the handbook and I didn't see that.
That there's paid, that they pay out vacation.
And where does it say you can't do it, or what section?
It never says that we do, is what it.
So,
I have been gone, I haven't had time to review all of that due to a family issue, but
I don't know,
Um,
there's 15 pages in there. I've read through it 3 times. There's no place where it says that we pay out for vacation.
But it doesn't.
it talks about not being able to carry it over. I think that's stated in there that you can't carry over more than, is it 40 hours or 1 week or something like that. But
Would the request be needed if it stated, if it wasn't the idea of the handbook to be paid out?
What was the question?
what?
Would you need to make a request? You're making a request if it was just policy that we paid it out. So would it be against the policy of the handbook by making a request to be paid out?
I don't think it would if it's not excluded in there. I guess the reason I made the request was because, well, I've shared with you guys the numbers. You know how many extra hours I've worked. You know how many hours of vacation I've accrued that I've not been able to take. You know how many hours of bonus time are on the books. I thought it was a good chance to clear things up here before the end of the year. And we're going to be sending about $1.2 million to the region before the 1st of July. It's in a separate fund. It just made sense to me.
And it's nothing against how hard you work, because we know how hard you work. I literally have denied this in the past, reading through the handbook with that individual, and we could not find in the handbook where we pay out vacation.
I'm
But if it's not allowed,
Just-
I mean, it would be one thing if it says it's not allowed, but it doesn't say that. It just doesn't specifically say it is allowed. So to me, it's like Iowa law. I mean, it's like home rule. You can do things if it's not allowed in the code. It doesn't have to say everything that it is allowed.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, if we're not going to
I mean,
allow it,
you've
it
got-
needs to say that it's not allowed. And I guess I'm not an advocate for paying it out. However, with Lynn's circumstances, I could definitely understand it. And what makes it even harder for me is
Me too.
that we have a difference in policy between the courthouse policy and the sheriff's office and the road workers. I mean, some of those people get paid out, but then, we're saying that these people can't be paid out. I think every effort needs to be made to take vacation, because I think people do need the time away and whatever, but your circumstances are different going from county to regional and the amount of time you've put in. So I
And
really didn't have a problem with yours this time. And that might be something that we make sure is in the new handbook if we're gonna make that. But when you have a policy that's different for a couple of offices versus others, I don't like that. That's why I hate saying no, but if that's what they wanna go with I guess I did not understand that it was not in the handbook where it said, we don't pay it out.
And I think it is specifically in there about comp time, and you have to use comp time for vacation, but yet some offices are paying out comp time at the end of every year.
Yeah, I don't,
So there's no consistency.
because I think
It's
the
not-
handbook does say you're supposed to use comp time before you use vacation time. So I know that's not being followed. So I have a problem with this one, but
And you're right on the idea that this is the $1.2 million that's being funded away from us.
I
it's
agree
going
with all
from
of
county
that, yeah.
to the
But-
region. and-
But the hindsight is if you allow it on one, you allow it on everyone to come in for the same reason that don't have the 1.2. It's still an employee's an employee, and they all have the same rights to that. What about the ones that didn't get paid out and everything else? I know they haven't made the request, but that's always been the reason we don't pay out. We paid out in 2010, 2011.
Well, and like I told you guys, I mean, the 70 hours of accrued vacation, you know, I've lost it. But what I was asking was the bonus time that's now on the books, because now even if I can take a day or two vacation, you know, we accrue a day every 2 weeks. So if I don't take a day of vacation every 2 weeks, it's basically lost. But then I've got that bonus time sitting there, so it'd be nice if I could get that off the books. And then when I can take a day off, a vacation, you know, I think I can get it.
How many bonus days did you have?
Well, there's
56.25.
56 hours on the last report, on the audit report.
So that's like another week's vacation almost.
Well, it's like a week and a half or whatever.
Mhm.
A week to a third, I don't know, whatever figures out to.
And the bonus time, you call it bonus time, but it comes from sick leave being converted.
That
Yeah, we
and
get
like
one personal day a year.
one personal day a year. Is that all you were asking for payment for?
Yeah, and that's.
Yes, the
That's really what I
56.25.
asked, was if we could get that bonus time off the books. It's 56.25 hours. And then I can, you know, I'm not gonna come back later and, I mean, the vacation time,
Well, how many weeks vacation do you get? 5?
yeah, but I never take 5, never take 3 usually.
That's why I
So
wanted to
how
kind
would
of
we
get to
handle it
the
if other people came
conversation
in this
stage.
late in the fiscal year and with bonus, because there are other people out there on the books that have bonus days.
And it's been a use it or lose it.
Can I ask, Dave, you pay out this type of thing for the non-union people in your office, don't you?
Just comp time.
Just comp time.
And I think this time around we had one, I believe, that we had to pay the comp time. Otherwise, it's burned up.
And you pay out comp time? Or over,
We
or whatever?
will until June 30th.
And
or
then
July
after that,
1st.
it's taken out of the contract, union contract?
That's right, out of the contract, it's, you either use it, or I think legally you have to pay it out if they quit or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
The end of employment,
That
you
is in
have to
the
pay it out then.
handbook.
But not every year, it's not a savings account. So,
And the people in your office that are non-union are supposed to go by our handbook. When you have comp hours,
Me?
yes.
No, I'm an exempt employee, so I don't get comp
Oh,
time,
okay.
so I just work extra and whatever it takes to get the job done.
Okay, yeah, that's right, I forgot.
Do you keep track of yours? My comp time? No.
Well, you don't, elected official
No.
doesn't, you can come in one day a week and nobody can do anything
Yeah.
about it.
Right.
Or you come in 6?
the way we treat the
Yeah,
union
you
contract is,
Yeah, or 12
they can only
hours a
carry
day.
so much vacation over, or they lose it. But there's been occasions where I've extended that, so they don't lose it.
Mhm.
Maybe we've had a hard winter, they haven't had the opportunity. And so I say, okay, you're not gonna lose it, but you have 6 more
Yeah.
months to get your balance down.
Mhm.
Could you,
Have-
since some departments do, some don't, whatever, could it be more like a departmental thing that if we can fit it in our budget? At least for this year, if there's people that would like, I don't know. if anybody
I would like to
out
see
that
it
level.
specified one way or the other in the new handbook.
In the new one, yeah.
Mhm.
But
I mean,
if other
black and
offices
white,
have
but-
people, I don't know if anybody else has people that have quite a bit of comp time, but if this year, if it would make sense, especially going into the changes and everything, that if they can get it in their budget without having a budget problem.
I mean, because I don't want the thing of, oh, you know, geez, if I don't use this, I'll get paid out for it. I'd rather have the money. I mean, I don't want that starting in all the departments either. So.
Right, because I have an employee right now that has a lot of bonus time, and we are short, and I wouldn't want them to come to me and say, hey, can I just get paid out for this, because I can't get.
I would be more willing to work with them and say, I'm gonna leave it on the books, and, you know, but you need to be using it, like Daryl said.
And in our
rather than
office,
paying
they
it out,
gotta use their
but-
comp time before their vacation, because
Mhm.
that's what the policy book
Yeah,
says.
yeah. So,
But then some offices are paying it off, so.
but
would you
Lynn
have a
doesn't
problem
get
with
comp
paying it off
time,
at the end of the fiscal
so
year?
if
If you
all
have
he
money
has
in
is
your budget.
bonus.
That's what I'm saying, if one of my employees came up and asked if they'd be paid out for their vacation, you know, I don't know that that would be
What about the
correct
comp
for me to
time or-
do. Comp time, they gotta use their comp time before
But
their
are you opposed to
vacation.
paying it, if you had money, if you get to the, this next week, if you have money still in your budget, would you be okay with having that discretion to make that decision?
I don't know that that would be my decision to make.
Well, the purpose of comp time is so that you don't hurt your budget with all this overtime. So you have the option of giving them time and a half off instead of paying the overtime. You can do that. So it doesn't make any sense to me to give them comp time because they've earned it in overtime and then turn around and pay them later. Just pay them the overtime. If you want it as comp time, you're gonna take it as comp time later, unless you quit and then you have to pay them out. I mean, that's what the purpose of comp
Seems like we're talking two
time
different
is.
things, because you say you don't get comp time.
He doesn't get comp time, so it's,
No, we've got two different things, but I
Bonus,
mean, they're
but,
somewhat related. and
you know, yeah.
We can,
But it all boils down to is where it hasn't been used and you want paid out for it because it fits within your budget. And yes, we are rolling that money over. Lynn, you're a great employee. You really are. And I wish you could have used the time up. It's just hard if I offer it to you, then the rest of it will all come to us as well, that they all want paid off as well. And once we open that door, we closed it 2 years ago, and I really have a hard time opening that door again. Or 3 years ago, back in 2012.
I guess the other thing is when you know, it looks like with the changes we're looking at making in the handbook, we won't, if we don't have the conversion anymore, then there probably won't be a need to even have bonus time on. Would you be opposed to some kind of, for everybody who has any bonus time on the books? I mean, how are you gonna clear that up? Because I would think we would only have vacation then, so you wouldn't really need that bonus category on this sheet that we turn into the auditor every week.
I would say, my opinion would be that we would handle that, and I mean, we haven't approved that yet, so, you know, whether it stays or goes, but that we would handle that the same way that we handled, what was it the last time? And that's why we added a column for bonus days or something, that we put their old
That-
vacation time and the new vacation time or whatever. When was that?
We
When
converted
we
from
changed
getting
all
8
at
weeks
once.
to.
Oh, yeah,
vacation.
yeah. That we would have two different banks, and then you would have both of those, and you were given, I think, was it 2 or 3 years to use that up or something? I don't know. So, I mean, I hate to see them lose it, I guess. To me, this is a different situation than all the others, but, you know, that's just my opinion. Because he doesn't get anything for his comp time. So, but neither do elected officials.
Any other discussion?
I believe there's other people in your department that have added bonus time too, so how would you handle them?
Well, I mean, the one other, I've got one person that's got 15 hours, but she's way low on her vacation, so it's not like she's gonna lose it. I have one staff person who did lose like 4.3 hours last period because of this whole thing of they're supposed to use their comp time first. And she has, well, she has 10.75 hours. So she's in an issue where she has to use that first, so that would take a day and a half to use that up. So she take, and then she's kind of like I am in that she's going to lose 4.33 hours each pay period until she's used her comp time, unless you give us discretion that I can, as a department head, pay her for those comp time hours like some other departments do here at the end of the year, which I would like to do because, again, that would get her kind of back on track so that.
Why did we make it as comp time to start with instead of just paying the overtime?
Because governments are the only ones that use comp time, and the purpose is so that you don't have to pay it all out in dollars.
But you're asking to pay it out.
I am at the end of this fiscal year for those 10 hours.
Otherwise it goes to the region.
It's kind of the similar type thing as with my situation, and that's why that's why the sheriff's office does it probably, is because it just makes sense sometimes to
Clear the books.
get it off the books, pay it at the current rate rather than carrying it over. Future, you're gonna pay time and a half times whatever the new rate is. It makes sense in a lot of ways. But
To
other
me,
than-
rather than her losing that, the sheriff's office pays it out and whatever and stuff, I would say pay it out then, before they lose it.
As long as I can do that.
I mean, if
because
you're
I
doing
think
it
our
in one
policy says
department,
we don't
that's
do
just
that.
my thought, I mean,
I would note, I've also had people that have lost vacation time because the policy says carry over a week, and it's not, in my opinion, they're adults, it's not my responsibility to ensure they can take the, if they don't put in for the time off, why should I allow them to carry it over? They know they've got it, if they want to burn it up, it's their responsibility to get it burned up, it's not my responsibility to monitor and
Make sure that they
get it
do.
burned up. They're grown-ups and they know how many hours they have, and if they need to take a day off to, sit around the house and do nothing, that's their choice, but we're not gonna carry it over just simply because they chose not to take it off.
so you pay it out.
And they've lost it.
Oh, vacation time,
Yeah.
but your comp time you pay.
Yeah, the comp time, because that's earned, they have to be.
But did you say you have one that has comp time?
Mhm.
Yeah, see, I would pay that out instead of carrying it over then. I mean, because
But what I said is
There's
if that's
nothing that
okay,
says you
'cause I think our
can't.
policy says we don't do that.
it does.
I'm sure it does. It says that they have to use. They
Well,
have to use the
I
comp
know it
before they
says that you use that
vacation.
before vacation time.
But does it say it can't be paid out at the end of the year? I don't know.
And I'm not picking on Dave, but if it says that, then,
Comp time will be required to be used prior to the use of vacation time.
does it say you can't pay out for it?
Page 19.
Does it say it can't be paid out?
Says it in-
Read some more here.
I don't think it's legal to, I mean, you would have to carry that on the books as comp time, because you can't take their comp time away from them.
No, they've earned it.
So you've earned it at this rate of pay, and if you have to carry that on the books until they decide to quit or retire, you're paying it out at a lot higher rate of pay than where they earned it. So it's better to pay it off at the salary rate that they're earning it.
All it says here, after it explains how you calculate it, it says that it must be requested in advance. Any unused compensatory time will be paid to the employee at the end of their employment, emphasized in italics. With Hardin County, comp time will be required to be used prior to use of vacation time. So it has something about when you're in employment, but it doesn't say anything about a fiscal year.
And that's.
See, and
what
I think
read.
that's crazy to hold that till they retire if they don't get it used.
But it's supposed to be used up prior to them using their vacation so that it never gets there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the whole purpose.
Otherwise, they'd be losing
When we had the
vacation the whole way
audit, when
through.
we had so much comp time on the
That's
books,
the way I read it.
I know, I agree.
that's when we made that policy
Yeah.
that we had to use the
I
comp
know.
time first to avoid this situation, to have to pay out comp time.
Yeah. But obviously some aren't doing that or whatever.
Well,
No.
do they have a different policy than we do for our handbook for they're union
These aren't union
contracts.
people.
I'm getting a steady stream of traffic of people looking for the tile meeting. Have a
That's
lot.
after this.
In this room?
Yeah.
Okay, excuse me, thank you.
Our contract is different currently, Michelle. Our
Because your
union-
guys' contract supersedes our handbook
Yes,
policy.
their handbook currently says that
Yes.
they can get paid out in any pay period for any count time that they have. They can request that. It won't be that way July 1, but that's how it is currently.
I understand both reasons. One, you wanted to push to the end of the year for them to use their comp time. In case you did have the budget, you didn't want to pay the time and a half to get them through to the end of the year so you knew where you were at. I understand that. On the hindsight, the reason for not paying them the time and a half was that they could take time off later, knowing that they don't get the time off until, they don't get their vacation until they use their comp time first. Have a tight spot, isn't it?
Well, it's tied all the way across. I mean, he's also hooked into a region where the region, but we reimburse salaries, and they're still putting control on the county for the community services. It's just extremely complicated, and you throw our handbook, 15 pages of the read, and we've read portions of it, and it's
Well, and
not
like
the
I-
easiest read.
Like I explained earlier, I mean, the last 6 months with our region and with additional things I took on with case management, I mean, it's great to say, yeah, you can just, you're grown-ups, you can take vacation. But, you know, like when we have a holiday, I come in and work on Saturday before the holiday because I gotta get things done. I've got cost reports, I've got all kinds of stuff that I do, so it's easy to say, just take it. But that's why I've given it up, is because I
We so
couldn't get
understand
the
that.
work done if I just took the day off.
That's why I think you have a better argument than a lot of people. When they just say, I can't take 5 weeks, or I can't take all my vacation time. I don't buy that. I mean,
There are a
in
few.
some of them in the past. But this is an exception to the rule, so,
There's more exceptions out there.
maybe it's a case-by-case basis, but, so.
I wish we had more opportunity to go through all the cases then, because I know that there's going to be more cases.
Unfortunately, we're on the last meeting of the payroll to make this happen. And the motion has been to deny. It's been seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Nay.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye. Opposed.
Motion carries. To deny. Next is the Iowa DOT budget amendment for secondary roads.
Secondary roads runs under 2 budgets, the county budget, and then we have to submit a budget for the DOT. And for this current fiscal year, the numbers that I submitted for the DOT budget were not the same as the county budget. I had thought that you had approved the numbers for the cuts that I had made, when actually it wasn't. It was a higher number, the county budget. And so this is just to bring those expenditures up, those numbers up to match the county budget. Not meaning we're spending any more or anything like that, just gonna match our county budget. So, and I visited with Jessica on March 6th about this, went over everything and made sure we had all our ducks in a row. But it brought out some things that need to be talked about, I think, on a bigger picture with how we interact with our software between the offices.
Then I would move to approve the amendment for secondary roads department for the Iowa DOT budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call. I lost Nancy.
Do I start with you?
No, second
Who made the
last.
motion?
Hmm?
Who made the motion?
Renee,
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
Lance.
Aye. Motion carries.
You writing it down, Tina?
Next is utility permit secondary roads. No permits, huh?
We didn't have anything. We didn't have
He
anything.
tells me if I have any utilities.
Yeah, none this week.
Secondary roads, I'm getting a lot of calls. I know you guys have worked, what, Friday and Saturday last week?
Yep, Fridays, we all Fridays.
More
And
comp
then,
time. Ooh, more comp time.
Oh, my gosh.
But a lot of work being done on those roads yet, and I think you guys are getting after it.
we're starting our quote-unquote rock program, but I think, and I made a few phone calls and I need to do some more, but I think we might end up having to hire some private haulers to help us get caught up. It was just, roads are just too bad this year, and it really, the past couple of years, it's hard to get caught up. And we're down an employee, you know, obviously one of them was in an accident, so I think, not sure what we're gonna do. We might just set one of our hopes, you know,
For the time being.
for the time being.
Yep.
And, you know, we're going through a lot of the vacation time, everybody's trying to use it, you know. So,
Anything else for us? I can ask for other business. Harry? Nope.
I'm sorry. I got a quote for, right on the south side of the Hubbard Golf Course. We had that washout around the box culvert. Well, we
That's what you
got
talked
it-
about last week.
Yeah, we got it plugged, and then, temporarily. But I've got a quote for using a slip pipe that goes in, so we don't have to tear the road up, it just slides in the box, and then grout around it, to seal it up. We've used it before, and we're looking about $16,125.84 to do that. And I think that's a lot cheaper than tearing that road up and putting a new box in, so.
For the life expectancy that you expect out of it.
Yeah, it's, if you look at this pipe, it's really thick. We used it on E41.
So it's a metal,
No, it's
It's
kind of a plastic, I don't know.
oh,
I don't know all the chemistry names, you know, Ron's probably all over that.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on it.
Slip pipe.
Yeah, so. And even though it's a round pipe that fits in the box, you'd think you'd lose capacity, but since it's smooth,
Flows faster.
it flows faster, so you actually gain just a little bit more flow.
All right. Any other business? Hearing none, I'll ask for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.